So I come down to the Manx Museum and I'm delighted, always with Matthew, because Matthew does work behind the scenes all year round, doing various exhibitions. Some come, some go. Matthew, this one is staying. Come to you in a second. But we have a very special guest. Please introduce yourself, because you're doing the opening, aren't you?
I am, yes. I mean, I've done talks in the Isle of Man before, and I was very flattered that the museum thought I was the right person to open it. So I'm having a great time this weekend. There's being hosted extremely well by the museum, and I'm looking forward very much to the opening ceremony tomorrow and giving my public lecture.
Oh, you're doing a lecture as well?
Yes, I am, yes.
You've got TV shows running as well at the moment, haven't you?
Yes, I'm on National Geographic on Thursday nights. Drain the Ocean and Hell Under the Sea, fantastic. 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock. Now, I do a certain amount of TV work now, actually, quite a lot. In fact, we're recording another Drain the Ocean series as we speak, virtually. Not quite now, but this week, certainly.
So what did you think of this?
Very impressed indeed. It shows very clearly the importance of Manx people in Britain's wars from the mid-18th century onwards and right up to the present day. And they've made very much the most of what they have in their collections. Behind us we have the Quilliam uniform, which we've now found out a lot more about, as has been explained to me. We have the restored painting of King Orry and the High Sea Fleet in 1918, and so. But in between, there are a whole range of things: captured Chinese banners from one of the China wars in the 19th century, and it's a very interesting collection, and it's put together extremely well, explaining the wider context. And I can't think of it being any better.
What's the actual title of this, Matthew?
It's called Man at War, and it's a gallery. It's a permanent gallery, as I must emphasise. It's not a temporary exhibition. This is going to be here for the next 20-25 years. So it's a big investment on the part of Manx National Heritage, but it's a subject that has repeatedly come to, our visitors tell us that this is a very important area of Manx history. We had a temporary exhibition about the First World War, 2014. We had the Quilliam exhibition in 2005, both of which were very, very well received, and it was felt by our trustees and management that this deserved a permanent gallery. So for the past 3 years we've been working to renovate a part of the museum that desperately needed to be updated and refreshed, and as part of that we wanted to tell the stories of Manx people in all aspects of conflict and war, not just the soldiers on the battlefield but civilians at home. And of course the Isle of Man has played a massive part in wars at sea, far more in many cases than people tend to think of things like the First World War. Of course we've got the armistice anniversary coming up. People tend to think of the war and the battlefields, but for the Isle of Man the war at sea was hugely important. So that's one of the reasons why we invited Eric very kindly to come and open the gallery.
Well, he's impressed, and I must admit, it looks beautiful. Yes, it's taken a long time to collect these items.
Well, some of these things, of course, have been with us for a very long time.
Locked away in your drawers.
They've been. Our predecessors were very far-sighted in making sure that they secured some of these uniforms. The Quilliam uniform came into the Manx Museum collections around the time of the 100th anniversary of Trafalgar in 1905. So our forebears were very far-sighted in seeing the importance of these uniforms, and the Caesar Bacon uniform, likewise, they were very astute in making sure that was accessioned into the museum collections. But one of the things that we've done as part of the build-up for this gallery is to study these things in a way that they've been in the museum collections for 100 years, but for the first time we've had textile experts look at them, people familiar with the method of construction of these uniforms, and we've found some fantastic new information. We've learned more in the past 3 years about some of these uniforms than we've learned in the last 100 years. For example, the Quilliam uniform, which was always reputed to have been the one he wore at Trafalgar, perhaps that's been taken with a pinch of salt in the past, but as part of our research we found it's actually got blood stains in it, and these correspond with holes in the back of the uniform which are battle damage. So the likelihood is that this is indeed the uniform that's worn at Trafalgar, which makes this of stratospheric importance. Now there's only a handful of these uniforms anywhere in the British Isles, and we've got one here in the Manx Museum. So these are objects not just of Manx importance but of international significance as well.
And you said it's permanent, which is fantastic news. And will it be added to, or is this it, or what?
Yeah, well, I mean, what we've got here, we've purchased display cases that are quite flexible, so it's easy for us to change the display. So this is just the first iteration. This is the first form that the gallery will take. There's still more material in our stores that deserves its chance on display, and that will happen in due course. So there'll be periodic refreshes of the gallery, and of course, new material may yet come to light as a result of this gallery. People may bring new material to our attention, so there's definitely scope for refreshment.
Eric, you're nodding away there?
Yes, absolutely. No, I mean, it's a very impressive effort, and as I say, I'm extremely flattered and pleased to be asked to come and open it. It's a model of its type, I would say. And it's very interesting indeed. I mean, even aspects such as the internment of Germans here in both wars is an interesting aspect, you know, that's sometimes forgotten. One feels particularly sorry for the anti-Nazis who come as refugees to Britain and then were stuck in the internment camps along with people who actually were Nazis. But I'm impressed too with the sort of the breadth of the perspective. I mean, in the Cold War section, you know, people who were against nuclear weapons are mentioned as well, as if you know, as part of the overall debate. And it's a very sort of, in a sense, neutral gallery. It isn't trying to make enormously patriotic points, but it's trying to demonstrate how Manx people were involved in all dimensions of major wars of the United Kingdom, you know, over the past, since 1760.
Fantastic. So, open to the public from Monday, here for 3 odd years.
We hope, yes indeed, we hope, yes.